And welcome to the conversation. It's your girl, Miss Y. Today, I am here with the phenomenal Anton Holland. Did I get that right?
Yes, ma'am.
We in the building. Listen, thank you guys, first of all, for supporting the show. It's been doing phenomenal. I ask that you share this live with all your family, your friends, and that you be inspired because he's got a story on him. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm so happy you're here.
I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. When I was putting this lineup together for the launch, I'm like, this guy's got a story. And I want it. I got to have it. So I'm so thankful that you're here and you're ready to share it.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Let's have a conversation.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's go like all the way back because I feel like people don't appreciate the present and all of that unless they know the journey, right?
Yep.
So let's go back to like your childhood years, just you as a shorty. How were you? Were you like one of those kids that was just nerdy, mean? Were you a bully?
I was active.
Okay.
I was getting into everything. I love like taking stuff apart, figuring out how it works, putting it back together.
Yeah.
My mom, she'll attest to that.
Okay.
So that's kind of how it was as a child. Yeah, and I moved a lot, and I moved fast.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you were a busybody.
Busybody.
Woo! I got one of those.
Yeah.
Blessings to your mom. She survived.
I got one too. Yeah.
Well,
He's just like me. Right.
Okay, cool. So you were always into things, always building things. What about you in school?
School, I didn't like school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
okay.
didn't. I don't know. I was present.
Yeah.
But I only took in the subjects that caught my attention.
Yeah.
So I didn't. The other subjects I kind of just let fall wayside.
Yeah.
And then the subjects that intrigued me, I excelled at.
Okay, so we're gonna fast all the way forward so I can make this make sense with what you just said because I'm confused. What do you do currently?
Currently, I have a distribution company, logistics, delivering snack foods, and then I do credit repair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so as a kid though, you wasn't with no type of education. You wasn't feeling it.
No, I'm just saying if I didn't like it, I didn't pursue it.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Okay.
So don't get me wrong. I love to learn new things.
Yeah.
I love to I love history. I love history.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just if I didn't like it, I didn't pay attention to it.
I get it.
Yeah.
Were you into sports at all?
I was into sports. Basketball.
Okay.
Was my sport of choice coming up, and I kind of going into high school. I didn't have the relationships with the coaches and stuff because I was kind of back and forth between different schools. Middle school, I didn't play. That is like a circuit.
Yeah.
The parents know the coaches know the parents, and the kids grow up together.
Yeah.
I wasn't in that circuit, so I don't feel like I got a fair shake in that.
Okay. So, as a kid, you're in school. What was like your thing? I know you said basketball, but I believe you told me you had a little hustle in you, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. So when I went to school, I would take anything that I could resell. So
okay.
Video games. I took amps to school before. I'm talking about anything.
Yeah.
So that's what majority of my time was going to school to make money.
Okay. I got one of them too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, Mom, I'm going to school. I'm going to sell this candy. It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Candy,
okay. Yeah.
Candy, anything, yeah.
So you started out early as a young businessman.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about your upbringing as far as family, your circuit, your unit, who did that include?
That included my mother, my father, grandparents, sisters and brothers.
Okay. Pretty close knit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so as you age, so now we get into our teenage years, how did you transition as a person? Like what was your friends or following like at that time? What were you doing?
I would say I kind of was I was known, but I stayed to myself a lot.
Okay.
So I didn't put myself in a box for any like particular group, you would say I would be with the jocks, the hood guys,
Yeah.
the people that play instruments.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
will catch me talking to anybody.
Yeah.
From every walk of life.
Yeah, I was like that too. I kind of was a floater. Like I was cool with everybody. You
Right.
cool, we cool. It didn't.
Right.
You didn't have to be in a certain.
I was a diplomat.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So after high school, how did life change for you, and what did you start doing?
After high school, I kind of was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to college for a bit for mortuary science.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay.
I did go to college for a bit for mortuary science, and I kind of floated from different jobs. You know, typical.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I got tired of punching the clock for people.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I always knew it was something more to just what they try to, the system tries to have you do.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. So at what point did you transition to a businessman? Because you like, that ain't for me.
Two, I can't. 2000, full-fledged, I'll say 2012. I kind of really took it serious.
Okay.
Yeah, 2012. I was working at this job called ERI, and it was an electronics recycling plant, and I was an office administrator.
Mm-hmm.
My job was to handle budget, monies, and scheduled services that needed to be done, and they would give me a budget of, say, $3 million. Had to be spent that month, like, I guess for tax liabilities and purposes.
Right.
So I would have to allocate those funds out, as well as keep track of the inventory in the plant. So I learned a lot from the job as far as numbers, how to delegate, manage, and then after that I started I had video games. I started buying video games wholesale, and I would sell video games when I got off work.
Okay.
And it was crazy.
So explain that. What's that like?
It was like it was like selling dope.
Okay.
Seriously.
Okay.
I people can identify with this. I just say it was like selling drugs, man. And it was, my phone was constantly ringing. I was selling them way below market, but I had a ton of them, and I got them at a good price, so it didn't matter. You know, I was still making a nice profit, and I mean, man, it kept me busy.
So are you talking about the actual console? So like
the video games, the software.
Okay.
So like the disc.
The disc. Okay.
Right. So
okay.
like the disc. I would go to barbershops, beauty supply. I would stop
Okay.
any and everywhere.
Hustle man. All right.
Man, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you did that for a while, and you had some partners in that, or was that just you?
Well, that was just me, but I had it got so busy that I had to start having people help me do it. So I had like 3 cousins help me, and they just as busy as me. So they would come buy from me wholesale, and then they'll take what they had bought, and they go resell it.
Now this is the video game, the disc, right? So couldn't people just copy it? Why did they need to get it from you?
No, the thing about it's not like burning a CD.
Okay.
Companies that develop those games is coding that won't allow you to burn the games.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were in high demand.
Yeah, I was definitely in high demand.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I had got so busy that I decided to really step into, like, all right, I need a location that people can come to versus me trying to constantly run back and forth.
Yeah.
I end up opening up a store in the flea market on Washington Street.
Okay.
And I was there for 3 months. kind of outgrew that space. I actually had my first acquisition there. Shout out to Boom. He had a video game store in the flea market as well. And he came to me one day. He was like, "Man, I'm done," because I just took over the market. And he couldn't. So he was like, "Just buy me out."
Yeah.
So that was like my first company acquisition.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just went up from there.
So after the video games, what did you do? Like, what was your next power move?
My next power move was a friend of mine, Charles. He kept telling me that I needed to go to the mall, like I needed an inline store in the mall, Washington Square. I stopped in, I looked at the space. It was actually GameStop's old location. And mall management, they always keep records of sales that tenants do. So I asked them to pull the sales to see what GameStop was doing before they had left out, and they had only been gone for about a year. And it turns out that they had did, I want to say about $450,000 the year that they left.
Okay.
But big corporations, they got shareholders they got to appear to.
Right.
So if management says you need to hit 500,000,
right,
or we got to close the store, they're gonna close the store. So my instant thought was, all I need to make is 100,000.
Right.
I'd be happy with that.
Right.
So I end up signing the lease, Washington Square Mall, and man, it exploded.
So I met you some years ago because you were actually a sponsor for my business,
yes,
Lipstick.
Uh-huh.
And we had the toy drive and stuff, and you're like, yeah, you can put your boxes out. And at that time, you had a shoe store.
Yeah, had a shoe store.
How many did you have?
At our peak, we were at 3.
What was that like?
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. When I had partners in that store. When we first initially opened, the motto was it was 5 of us total. We wanted to build a process, make sure it worked, rinse and repeat, duplicate it, so each and every person could end up with their own store. But partnerships, everything runs its course. So,
yeah. And what was so specific or dope about your stores? Because there's shoe stores everywhere.
Right. Our shoe stores, I'm not even gonna say it's a niche market because it's a huge market. It's just we run the concept to retail to buy, sell, and trade sneakers.
Okay.
So it's huge.
So that's a huge market.
Yeah. Sneakers are an asset, honestly. Yeah, it's their investment.
Who knew?
Yeah.
So you saying I could buy some sneakers today?
You hold on to them for, you can hold on to them for a couple years and price will go up on certain ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it a certain brand or type that?
Not really. I mean, you got.
Because nobody want no Reebok Classics in 5 years.
you got Nikes. I mean, as far as Jordans.
Okay.
LeBrons, KDs, and then you got Adidas. It just depends on certain shoes. The sneakerheads, they set the market for each shoe.
Okay.
They decide if it's hot or not. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
So based off of what you're telling me, it sounds like the popular players' shoes.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jordan is still king. Like.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely
top shoe out the gate.
Yeah.
Top shoe to resale.
Yeah. So the idea is you purchase the dope shoe, you hold on to it, and you keep it in a condition to where you can resell it later.
I mean, they can be worn and go for more than what you paid for them, or they can resell that day, that week that you bought them when they first released, and I mean, you can make a profit off of them.
I must be in the wrong business. You done put some nuggets on me. I didn't know. Okay. So you start with the shoe company. You got your partners. There's 4 or 5 of you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. When did you meet your great love? When did you meet your wife?
I met my wife. I met my wife 2000. let's say 2013, I believe.
Okay.
2013.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So my wife, she I met her when it was 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, I take that back. 2010. I met my wife when I was manager at Club Oxygen on 82nd Street.
Come on, Oxygen. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a throwback.
Yeah.
All right.
Club Oxygen.
Okay.
We were closing down for the night, and she was with a girl I went to high school with.
Yeah.
And they were leaving out, and I was like, something was like, say something to her, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, hey, I asked her, talked to her for a short minute, got her number, and I mean, we've been together ever since.
The reason I asked that specific question is because I know later in the story we'll talk about the importance of her role in your life.
Yeah.
But you are so gorgeous on Facebook. I've never met her, but girl, you're gorgeous and you're just too cute. So I wanted to ask that. So you got the partnership, you got the shoe store. What do you think was like the pro of the business? What was going well?
What was going well? Sales, and I think we were the first store, I can say this, in the state to do what we did. And we kind of were able to train the market, teach the market as far as the average consumer goes.
Yeah.
Who doesn't understand, like they walk in the store and they see a shoe that's $500 and it's been worn, and they say, how is this? And like, we'll have shoes that had been out for 9 or 7 years, and you can't go in finish line and find a shoe.
Right.
And they wouldn't understand it. Is this fake? Is it a fake shoe?
Right.
So that type of stuff,
Yeah.
But I think the store kind of sold itself.
Yeah.
And we had great sales. The sales were fantastic.
So what do you think you did out of all 3 locations?
It was, it's about $1 million.
Oh, okay. So well like that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
People say I do well. They're not talking about $1 million.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah. So,
There's a difference there. Okay.
I still got the books.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
I bet you do. And so in life, we have great moments. We have times that are just amazing. Things are going bomb. We're excited. And sometimes those moments change or they fade. And so you had an experience.
I did have an experience. My experience was one I was never prepared for, nor did I ever think I would encounter, because, it's just not, I'm a businessman. I don't, I try to do everything by the book. But I had a friend of mine that he was a customer, for probably about 6 months. He'd come in, we got kind of close, you know what I'm saying? And he would watch my store for me when I wasn't there. And I kind of trusted him, and turns out he was doing things in my store when I wasn't there. So I ended up getting pulled into a conspiracy case. And I basically was fighting for my life for about a year behind that.
So explain, when that first happened, what did that look like? Like, did they just come in and say, hey, you and you?
So when it first happened, I actually, his girlfriend had called me because he didn't have a license, or he was trying to get his license back or whatever. And she had called me, was like, hey, he went to such and such, but I haven't heard from him, and I think he may have got pulled over. So she called. I said, well, call me if you don't figure out something in the next 10 minutes. And so she called me back and was like, he got pulled over. I was like, they probably gonna try to tow the truck. So I shot up to where he was at, and next thing I know, they're pulling me out the car. It's like, you Mr. Holland, step out the car. And then next thing I know, I'm in I'm in Marion County lockup for 7 days.
And what is it that they thought they knew? What were they accusing you specifically of?
Well, they were accusing me of helping him, I guess, forward his drug dealings.
Okay.
And as if I was facilitating, with him being in my store and things.
Okay, so they felt like you were doing that out of the store.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So they end up charging me with. First, they charged me with dealing.
Yeah.
They dropped those charges, and then threw me charges for conspiracy.
Okay.
Now, for people that don't know what conspiracy is them saying, in a nutshell, we don't have any evidence or a little evidence to tie you to this organization, but we think you had something to do with it, so we're going to charge you with conspiracy. And for them to charge you with conspiracy, it's easier for them to actually pin you on conspiracy versus saying that you actually did something.
But if it's just conspiracy, it's just the thought of, right?
Exactly.
There's no proof. So how do you hold a person or seize anything or do anything if you have no real evidence?
If somebody makes for example, I don't even know how this happened. They had phone taps from him.
Yeah.
Talking to people, saying, Anton doesn't know what I do. Anton has no idea. He's not part of this.
Mm-hmm.
That information, that evidence, they completely ignore that. And they still want to put you on the hook for something, right? So, like I said, it's easier for them to get you for a conspiracy versus then actually having to prove that you did something. And the conspiracy, when they came about with that law in the 80s or whatever, it's tore and wrecked families apart. You got people that got life sentences behind conspiracy.
Yeah.
Never did anything, never had drugs, never did anything. Maybe made a phone call to somebody, probably called somebody, hey, such and such wants to meet you over here, and now they're in a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Period.
What's crazy about it is anytime something happens with people, whether it be really good, really bad, everyone thinks they know.
Right.
And the streets talk, right?
Right.
So everybody's got the information. They got the 411, blah, blah, blah. So when the story came to me, I'm like, check and dig. I know nothing about that. Like that's not, first of all, it's not my business. I don't know I'm in that way. So I'm not feeling it. Now some people feed off of that type of energy. And they're like, oh, I know this. I need to tell you something that I know about nothing,
Right.
But I said, let's have the conversation and you tell them for yourself.
Yeah, so, I heard everything from, he snitched, he was selling this or he was selling that. For the people that are on the outside looking in, I don't even care that y'all said that.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone that has come in contact with me, if they had a conversation with me, and it wasn't just a high and by situation, those people stuck by me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They know my character. They know what type of person I am. I mean, I had my companies. I had multiple inline stores in the malls,
mm-hmm.
And I've had all of that bootstrapped.
Right.
No loans. I've never took out a business loan or anything.
Yeah.
Turning my money over.
Yeah.
And you talking about that at one point in time, I had 4 locations, 4 stores in Washington Square Mall. And I mean, I've never been the one to judge,
mm-hmm.
When I see somebody's situation, because I don't know their situation.
Right.
So I just, that's more so, I think, a Indianapolis thing almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
sad to say, but it is. Like,
yeah. It's almost like if something bad happens, I'm running with that.
Right.
Whether it's true, I
Right.
heard it, so this is what I'm going with. And this is what I'm telling everybody. When you can't do that because you don't know.
Right.
You know, there's now this is random, but there is a favorite rapper of mine recently that I saw a story. It's a great example of him and his wife and how they're involved in this. I don't believe it and I don't care. And I wasn't there. And so until there's a fact or there's proof or there's anything, that's when you make your decision. Why are people so quick to just run off negativity? I don't get it.
Right. And I think part of it is, you know, a lot of people are jealous or envious of your success.
Yeah.
So anything, you know, people are with you when you're climbing, trying to get to the top. As soon as you get to the top, that's when everybody wants to see you fall.
Yeah.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah.
So.
Woo, that was a nugget. I'm going to have a whole snack later because you just dropping nuggets. So when this happened, they telling you, okay, we got you on conspiracy. We believe these things were happening at your facility. We believe you're involved. Do I got that right?
Yeah, it wasn't even that. It was they had the evidence, you know, to say every time that he had a buy, Anton's not present. Anton's not present. I'm part of their investigation.
Right.
So they're keeping tracks of me too, right?
Right.
Anton's not present. Anton's not present. 6 buys from an undercover in my store.
Yeah.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
But I still got hit with the conspiracy.
So when you got hit, did they instantly close the stores or what?
Yeah, so which is understandable. Simon Property, they terminated my lease. Okay. And my thing is I built, you know, from Washington Square Mall, my point of contact, I had built it took me a while to build that relationship, you know what I'm saying? And it's some relationships that can't be mended, especially in business.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that's what hurt me about that situation happening like that. Yeah. One of the things that kind of hurt me.
Okay, so in the process of you being involved in this tomfoolery, what was going through your head and who was your support at that time?
My support, definitely my family, my wife, she was, at the time, she was a stay-at-home mom. I got locked up. The next day I talked to her, she's like, I got a job interview. You know what I'm saying? So, and then my second thought was, if something happens and I have to do some time, I have to get something in place to try to take care of my family financially. Yeah. You know, to subsidize me not being there. Yeah. Right. So yeah, but my wife, multiple friends, Isaac Daniels, Grind Like I'm Broke, shout out. My uncle, Tommy Harris, my aunt Tammy, my mother-in-law, like my best friend, Jamal, like it was overwhelming support, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because like I said, those are the people that know me. Right. So anybody that knows me was there still after it all happened.
Now that's phenomenal, because a lot of times in situations like that, people jump ship. Right. And I'm sure you had some people that you at least associated with that went their way. Right. You know?
Yeah, I did.
Just because. And so that's unfortunate. How did you end up climbing out of that? Because that's a lot. To close your stores, to put all this stuff on you, they lock you up. How long were you away?
Well, I was just locked up for 7 days. Okay. But I didn't know what was going on in the interim, you know. Okay. It's kind of like I got to get all my stuff out of the stores. Yeah. Like it was just it was a mess. But they had took most of everything that was in the store of value, because they gangsters. The police are gangsters. Okay. And they're the real things. Right, they're the real gangsters with badges that can take shit from you. Okay. Where was it? Sorry.
You were just talking about your support, and I was saying, how was it like what did you do like once you came back to?
So, I was basically in and out of court for a year. I ended up taking a plea agreement, which I mean I really didn't want to, but I had to.
Why do you say that?
I mean, it was conspiracy. You know, I had ran out of money to pay lawyers at the time.
Yeah.
After you talking about 20, 30K, I was done.
Yeah.
So one thing I know about the court system is still all has to do with money.
Okay.
So once they figure out that you've ran out of money, they ran out of options to fix.
How is the money beneficial though? Like why does that matter if it's about the charge?
It's not with the criminal justice system. It's all about the money.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, it's all about the money.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all about the money. So
so the funds got low.
Right.
And that's why you felt like.
Right. And then with them telling me, look, it's a conspiracy charge.
Right.
It's hard to they don't have to have evidence.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need any
That is crazy
evidence.
to me.
Yeah, they don't need it. They just go to the jury. If I take it to trial, they go to the jury and say, this is why we think Mr. Holland is guilty of this crime.
Yeah.
And the prosecutor, the judge, and if I had to have a public defender, all three of those people, their checks come from the same place.
Yeah.
So why would I trust that process? I'm looking at 15 to 25 years.
Yeah.
If I blow trial, versus here goes home detention.
Right.
They just want the notch in their belt to say it's another conviction.
Right.
They don't really care if you're innocent or guilty or not.
Now before this, we'll get back. But before this, had you been in trouble?
No, never.
Wow.
Never.
So no priors, no nothing.
No, nothing.
Wow. That's very unfortunate.
Clean record. I've never did anything. License. I know a lot of people ain't got licenses, so. I have my license and insurance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Let's hit the registry.
Right. I'm legit.
Yeah.
I got a mortgage.
So you went with the home detention option, right?
Home detention. 3 years home detention.
Wow.
Yep, 3 years home detention.
And what is that really like? What does that mean?
For me, some people will agree, some people's not. It was a blessing in disguise for me because I literally was not being able to spend time with my wife and my kids.
Okay.
Right? When I was running my stores, you talking about I'm doing 18, 19-hour days.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got, like, we was already close, but we just built a great foundation behind it.
So you were kind of quarantined then?
Yeah, I mean, y'all just joined me when y'all had the quarantine. Y'all just was late to the party.
So, when you were on the home detention, did you still have to pay?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so it's still not over. The money's still going.
Nah, they won't. It was like $120 a week.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a money thing. You know what I'm saying?
Thing for sure.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a money thing. Like, and I'm fortunate that I had the resources, you know, people as well to help me to do everything because, you know, it's some people. Think of a guy that doesn't have the money to get a lawyer.
Right.
And they have a public defender.
Right.
Their plea deal probably would have been 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years.
And so because they didn't have the funds, they have to do the time. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying 9 times out of 10, if you don't have a private attorney and you got a public defender, the public defender is going to come and say, here, this is the best deal I can get you. Take the deal. What are you going to say? You don't have funds to go hire an attorney.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so you had to do home detention for 3 years.
Yep.
Which you're a person that's used to running around.
Facts.
Because you're making millions, and we just going to put millions at this point, because you said $1 million, so that's several to me. And so, because you had all these stores and all these businesses, and now you got to sit down.
Yeah, now I got to sit down.
What did you do within that time frame?
So, I had to before I my first thought was if I have to do, if I gotta go to jail or something, I was trying to figure out something to do to take care of my family. But once I kind of figured out that I was gonna be home on home detention, I was like, okay, let me switch gears and pivot a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking into independent contracting.
Okay.
And being, where you essentially your own boss. You got a truck, you buy, find a truck or do to do independent contracting work. So that's where I came across doing what I do now. Is the Grippo potato chips. So
okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you got where you are now, because you had time to process this and get where we are now.
Right. And
I'm following you.
The thing that I was that allowed me to be out and to move around, not be in one place. You know what I'm saying? So I could still move around and be at different places while on home detention.
Okay, so now the guy was a friend or an associate or whatever, turned into employee, seems like, ended up changing your life drastically. To where we got this conspiracy thing because they think that's what it is.
Right.
It changed your life.
Right.
How and what did you learn? Like what? You know how we all have that aha moment, right? Mm-hmm. Once something happens, good or bad, you have a moment where you sit down and you was like, oh, so this happened because of this. What was your moment and what did you learn?
My aha moment was, it was honestly my wife, cause she would constantly tell me like, you shouldn't you gotta watch stuff closely. You know what I'm saying? You can't be so trusting of everybody. And I look at a glass like I'm the one to look at it half full instead of half empty. You know what I'm saying? So every person that has been successful, right? You hear about multiple stories of them losing it all, getting it back.
Yeah.
Losing it all, getting it back, and having to reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
I just figured this was my moment to reinvent myself.
Awesome.
And to prove that my first success, my third success, my fourth success wasn't just a fluke, and I could do it again.
Were you able to gain any of your network back that you had prior to this occurring?
I'm on the road to doing that now.
Okay.
So I'm on the road to doing that now. Like, even with, doing the work that I do now, last year, sales was over 400,000. So 400,000.
Okay. All right.
Now I'm not saying, and people get sales confused with, oh well, I don't have 400,000. I'm just telling you, it was sales of 400,000.
Right.
And I won't get into the numbers, the breakdown of that, but I'm climbing my way back up.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we go through things, horrible situations happen to us, and so we have an opportunity to either change, learn something, or repeat. What do you think you got out of it? We know what you learned, but what do you do differently besides being less trusting? Because I totally agree. If I knew you then, but I didn't know you, because I would have been like, listen. So I agree with sis on that. But what do you think now, moving forward, you're motivated to do differently based off of these experiences?
Now I'm pretty much focused on not scaling to where I have to delegate anything to anybody right now.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then once I learn how to get a proper system in place, if I do need to go out and hire somebody, like it's a whole screening process behind that, and it's a process that I won't be liable if they go, you know, use a company vehicle and hit somebody and kill them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like something like that will happen. So I'm just focused on building what I can handle and control in my family.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So currently, tell us more about what you're doing. You said the credit repair.
Right. So I recently started. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
The situation that happened, credit tanked. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any revenue to pay bills. The debts that had accumulated. And years before then, before I didn't know about credit, my wife, she's always had good credit. And
She seems like a rock star.
man, when we got together, I started out like, man, I got to get my credit together. You know what I'm saying? So I'd used the company, and man, they had played me. Like I had paid them for like 16 months, and they never did anything. And 3 years ago, it was actually like when I was going through my case and stuff, right? I had got a check in the mail from a class action lawsuit that was filed on my behalf and a whole bunch of other people's behalf for, I think it was like $1,800 or something like that. For that reason, they had got sued, and that money was allocated from the class action lawsuit, and that's why I had got in a credit repair, because I wanted, again, going back to childhood, wanting to know how stuff works, like how to fix it. So I started dipping into it to do my own, and it kind of, it was kind of easy, you know what I'm saying? So, and then it kind of found out it's a whole market out there.
What do you think some of the major misconceptions are about credit?
I think, honestly, in our community, I think that's an epidemic in our community, is credit literacy. Like, my parents didn't teach me about credit. Like, my wife's, her parents, they didn't teach her about, they didn't, her parents didn't have credit. My father, he had a little credit. You know, he was able to buy a house, but we never had that conversation about credit. And I think credit builds wealth. You know, if you know how to use it and utilize it right. So I think it's important for our people to educate, learn, maintain, and and pass it down to your kids about it.
So what are some of the services that you offer to help people do that?
So I basically, if you have collections, late payments, repossessions, bankruptcies, check systems, anything that's bad on your credit, I can help you straighten it out.
How long does a process like that usually take?
Everybody's different. It could take, I had one client, I literally had her for 30 days. Everything went perfect. She was able to get a pre-approval for a house the following month.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
some clients I've had for 7 months, 9 months, 5 months. Everybody's situation is different.
So it depends on the debt, the type of debt, and the amount of debt,
Right.
maybe.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And so what do you see yourself doing with it long run?
I set a goal for myself to hit a certain number by the end of this year, and ultimately I want to be able to do a class, whether it's online or ebook, that will help people just learn and basically like a credit cheat sheet type of deal. So that's what I want to do long term.
Based on your story, your upbringing, you as a young adult and the different things that you indulged in, and this horrible conspiracy that changed your life, What did it do to your faith?
It strengthened my faith. My grandmother, my grandma Holland, my father's mother. She was a very religious woman. Like she prayed constantly. Like she had a regimen that she would do, and I know her prayers watched over me and got me through that situation.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I know it's a higher being, you know, and I talk to him. We got a relationship.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's Allah or you know, I don't know what his name is.
Okay.
Can't nobody definitively say what his name is.
Okay.
You know, not unless you was there.
Right.
But,
Okay.
you know, it's a higher being.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we learned in a very difficult situation that our strength can come in our faith.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Nothing.
Why is that?
I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not one to speculate, or I think that happened to point me in another direction.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's taking me towards somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm just not one to dwell on the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not. I'd be lying if I said I was upset, but I mean I was over it 2 months after it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like focused, trying to get through it, and get past it, and begin with the new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about your story is you have taught us and me there's definitely success on the other side.
Definitely.
Just because something happens to you, and it can be horrible, which it was, that doesn't mean that's the end of your story.
Right. Yeah.
So that is absolutely awesome. How do people find you if they want to use your services and get their credit together?
Credit Code Now across all social media platforms, or creditcodenow.com. That's how you can.
We're going to have a different conversation because I don't know if I'm doing my credit stuff right based off what you said about the lady with the 30 days. Because I'm like, well, why is it taking so long for me? You know. Another thing I wanted to ask about credit, though, is it really about the score, or is it about the debt? Tell us that.
It's all of that.
Okay.
You know, it's broken down that it's a little bit of everything. So the score, I mean, it's nice to have a 750, but like you said, if you got $1 million in debt, you can't get no more credit.
Right.
Like, you gotta keep making them payments on time. Your 750 might go down to a 600.
Yeah.
So it's about all that. If I had any advice to give somebody, like off the top of my head, don't make late payments. That is the worst thing you can do, is make late payments. Make the minimum payment if you can.
Yeah.
Try not to make late payments.
No late payments.
No late payments.
That makes a huge difference.
Makes a huge difference.
Why?
Because out of that pie, your payment history is 35% of your score total. So
that's a nugget.
Example.
Okay.
I had a card. I forgot to make the payment. One payment. It dropped my score 100 points off of one payment. This is me having 100% payment history. It dropped down to 99% payment history. 100 points. My score dropped.
Wow.
Right. For you talking about 5 or 6 year history of on time payments.
Wow.
Late payments will kill you.
Okay. Well, you taught me something.
Yep.
That would explain why that one time I was late. What happened? Because
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I was up here and now I'm here and I'm confused. Well, I'm so happy that you shared your story for yourself.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Because the streets talk, but
Yeah.
let them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, once you finally know the truth, it's like,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And some of us may not care, right? You don't care what people think. But I just think it's awesome to share your truth.
Right.
Because don't tell my story for me. Let me do it.
Right. And I just hope, I hope somebody hears it and, you know, they might be in a situation, going through a situation, or went through a situation, they're thinking that this, you know, they might feel hindered by it, and it's not, man. You just gotta find your passion. You know, my passion is, I like building companies.
Mm-hmm.
That's my passion. Like, I like the fact that I can have an ideal, take that thought, and turn it into reality, and see it through. And I mean, you just gotta find your passion. You gotta live in your passion.
Yeah. Well, I commend you for living through that, experiencing what you did, and also learning from it, because sometimes people get in trouble or things happen to them that don't really have much to do with them at all, and then they find themselves somehow in other things.
Right.
So it's like, well, what are we doing?
Right.
You know, if you had an opportunity to clear the name of one thing or to remove yourself from something bad, why not move in a positive light? So I'm happy that you have definitely done that.
Right.
And I'm happy that you came on the show.
I appreciate you having me.
I know we had, okay, so I'm going to give y'all a little behind the scenes. We had a conversation to the conversation.
Right.
And just hearing your story and all of the details was amazing.
This could have been like a 3-hour long interview.
I know.
Like, for real.
I know, because we already had another hour and a half one.
Right.
So I get it. So one of my final questions for you. What do you think you learned about friendship out of all of this?
What did I learn about? It's a good question.
I done stumped you.
Now you done stumped me.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to articulate it, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oprah.
Okay. Okay.
What did I learn about friendship? Can't buy true friends.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't buy friendship.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. That's what I learned about friendship, because, you know, it's people that I looked out for.
Mm-hmm.
I never do anything to get anything back. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not in my DNA. But, you know, you do things and you would figure.
Yeah. You would assume.
Right.
It would be returned in one way or another.
Reciprocated, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and having a conversation with me. And I'm very proud that you expressed your truth, because that's major and it's not easy to do. I think a lot of times things happen and we got to figure it out, and then we get frustrated, and then we just let whoever think whatever. So I think it's important to just say what you got to say for yourself.
Right.
And did all that. And y'all stop being messy, because I don't care. You know what I mean? About what people are saying and thinking about somebody else. It's not my business. It's not your business. And until you know, you don't know.
Right. Well, now you know.
Now you know.
In the words of the legendary B.I.G.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go. Did you have anything else you want to share?
No. It was an honor being here.
Thank you.
I'll be watching your show.
Thank you.
I like your production, and more power to you. I hope you go way to the top with it.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having a conversation with me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and stay tuned. See you soon. Bye.